my apologies, and I will admit it firsthand. I can't remember his name. Can't remember his name. It's terrible, and I apologize. But he had a little chat with Jace yesterday, so he may call in later
Cool.
today.
Great.
So
Well, good. He had a little talk with Chase. So goody. Whoopee.
that's right.
Good
Yeah.
time.
That's right.
Yeah.
I gave him my my
I did
business
actually.
card.
We actually are in communications with governors to start getting the comedians that are in governors,
Yeah.
back again.
We would laugh at our asses off last night. Oh, sorry. We were laughing our butts off last night.
Yeah, were you?
Oh, you're so funny.
Can you stand up? I like. Is
Yeah.
it still there?
Is
Where?
it
Your
still
butt
there?
is it still there? If you laughed it off, I hope you brought it home.
Her cute little butt is still there.
I went up on
What did
stage.
Helen?
I danced.
What did Helen say? You got to listen to Helen's show yesterday. What did you say? Something you said something about Lisa, and then you mentioned her size or something like that. What did you say, Helen? Do you remember?
What did you say, Helen?
I said you're probably like a size 2 or a 0, and shut up. I don't want to talk about
Anyway,
Wow.
all right, guys. Well,
it.
this
And
is
I am not a size 2 or a size 0.
No?
We were talking about 17 seconds in the law of attraction, how hard we are on ourselves as women. I am not a size 0 or size 2, and I never will be.
maybe.
Well,
You
you know what I have
could.
to say to that? I'm going to interrupt you. You know what? We're size beautiful. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I love you
please.
so much. Yes,
Yeah.
we are a size beautiful.
Okay.
I'm a size voluptuous beautiful.
You are so beautiful. Anyway, listen, guys,
That's
it's
okay.
time for our entrepreneur spotlight. And today, I have the owner and CEO of Players Jets LLC, Lamont. He has let me describe this. Okay, he's an executive BBA in business and a BS in mathematics. He has over 20 years of sales and management and marketing experience. His focus has always been to provide the best quality of service to his clients. Lisa, why don't you brought him to us? His name is Lamont Huffman. So first off, let me say good morning to him. Good morning, Lamont. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Lisa, why don't you, since you brought Lamont in here, why don't you give a little background here, if you would? Tell us a little bit about how you know Lamont and
I know Lamont from my dancing days. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
really, you made a lot of singles, huh?
I met Lamont through Danny. They worked together at Select Quote.
Okay,
here in
very
Florida.
good, very good. Well,
Yeah.
Lamont, when you look at, I got to tell you, when you read about him, or you look at the pictures and you read about his history and things that he's done, he is the definition, as far as I'm concerned, of the word success. And that's why I brought him on this morning, because you know what it is. The best way to be able to get to where you want to be is to follow a roadmap. And the same thing goes when you're dealing with someone has experience in the business industry, as Lamont Huffman does have. So, first off, again, let me welcome you to the show, Lamont. So, take me back to the early days. I mean, tell me about the young Lamont and where you are today and how you got there. But tell me back when. Give me a little bit of a history of yourself, if you would.
I grew up in Alabama. Huge Alabama fans, like I say, Roll Tide. I grew up playing baseball. Played baseball in college. Growing up, baseball was my love, and that's all I wanted to do. Growing up watching the Yankees play, things like that. That's what I did. But my parents, they really stressed education. Fell a little short from my sister. She's a physician, so I didn't quite make it to where she did. But that was my love. And then my dad, he kind of liked aviation, but I kind of became, I kind of fell in love with it as a kid. Going to the airfield. My dad, he had this scheme that he was going to buy an airplane, so he convinced me I could take pilot lessons and all that. But my mom kind of 86 that. But that's kind of that. Grew up, mom, dad, 2 older sisters. Grew up in Alabama. My dad worked for the government, and that's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
Kind of the leave it to Beaver type family. Ate dinner every day with the family, and dad worked and my mom didn't. So that's kind of how I grew up.
I love that. I love that.
My son, actually, Martin, he's 8 years old. He's into football and he's into sports and everything like that. And if you ask him, like, even at 8 years old, I don't know where he came up with this, but if you ask him where he wants to go to college, he'll tell you Alabama. He wants to go to Alabama. So I guess there's something to this. All right, there you go. So you're a licensed. I'm looking at your LinkedIn. It says you're a licensed insurance agent in 46 states, and you focused on providing individual and couples term life insurance services. Basically, you were a life insurance agent. Now, now, of course, the CEO of an owner and CEO of Players Jets. So, how did the transition go from being in financial services to offer, to wanting to own a company that offers jet services to people throughout the world?
Like I said, I've always had a love of airplanes, and it kind of wasn't a transition. They kind of paralleled with each other. And being an entrepreneur, you have to earn money because before the success comes, there's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of trial and tribulations, a lot of, oops, I shouldn't have done that. And, now as you start to grow, you get into bigger things, raising capital, huge business plans with exit strategies, venture capitalists. It's a lot of things that come into that. So they kind of ran parallel with each other, but as we're transitioning and growing and becoming the company that we wanted to become, it kind of, that's how the migration and transition kind of happened.
Understood. Now, Players, are these jets that your company actually owns and provides, or are you more or less like a network that provides, let's say if I called you up right now and I said, I'm in Long Island, I need to get to wherever I have to go, and I have to go now. So are these your company planes, or are these planes as a network that you have established?
We have a network of planes. If I owned, planes cost anywhere from $5 to $50 million. So if I owned a network of planes, I'd probably be doing something. I'd probably be in Hawaii and Maui right now.
Gotcha.
Fly my G5 over. But no, we have a network of planes. We have access to airplanes. Airplanes, if you own an aircraft, you have someone manage it, because owning an aircraft, no matter who you are, is a very, very expensive thing
Undertaking,
to do.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yes. So, so there's companies that manage it, because you don't fly it that much. You might fly it once a week, once every 2 weeks. There's a lot of maintenance and things that go on. So there's people that it's equivalent to a timeshare. You own a place in Tahoe. You go there twice a year. If it sits vacant, it makes no money. So that's the same way. That's the easiest way in layman's terms to kind of explain how aviation works. So I have a network of those people that operate those planes that I can go to anywhere in the world. So if you need to get from Teterboro, where everybody flies out of New York, to Miami, I could have you in Miami in 4 to 6 hours.
See that?
So Lamont, what the hell here? Why haven't you flown me from New York to Florida? What's happening here? What do I need to do?
I can send you an invoice right now. You'll have the invoice in 1 minute.
Yep.
And you have the invoice in 1 minute, and just pay it, and then we'll get the plane headed.
Well, that's there's the answer to Lisa's question. You never paid the invoice. See, that's the truth. Let me tell you something.
Can't get nothing from nothing.
Well, no. Let me just say this. Okay, that's the true sign of a true business person and entrepreneur, because he understands. And you know what? Somebody taught me this a long time ago. They said, listen, if you want me to help you bring a dryer downstairs, or bring your washing machine downstairs, or you want me to help sweep out your garage, you want me to help you push your car, whatever it is that you want me to do, as a friend, I'll be very, very happy to do that for you. But if you ask me to do something and I do it for a living, please don't ask me not to charge you for it, because that's what I do for a living. And when I heard that at first, I said, well, that's kind of harsh. But you know what? If you stop and think, the most successful business people in the world have that mindset or that mentality that this is what I do for a living. This is my business. You can't ask me to do something that I do, regardless of how much of a friend. I may be able to give you a little bit of a break on a price because you're my, because I've known you're a family member. It's not like you're going to sit there and go, I'm sorry, Grandma, you can't ride on the plane unless you pay full price. But you definitely, you have to be a business person in order to be able to succeed in this world. And am I right on that, Lamont? Am I right on that concept?
You are 100% correct. You don't know how many times I'm somewhere. We're doing one of our trips. We do VIP trips. We do group trips. We go to games. People will be like, hey, Lamont, let me go with you. That plane costs thousands of dollars an hour. So it's not let me go with you. You're my friend, but this isn't a hobby. Hobbies, you don't make money. A business, you make money, or you strive to make money in a business. But you don't do that by giving things away. So that's kind of, the way it works. And it's everybody asks that, because everybody has an idea that a private plane's a couple of more dollars than flying on Southwest or United or American Airlines. It's not like that. It's light years away. But that's just what everybody always asks.
And I got to tell you, especially when you're dealing with flying in the air, all right, when you're dealing with aircraft, all right, and somebody says to me, like and I'm not going to mention the name of the airline, but let's just say they say, the normal price to get from point A to point B, let's say, is a couple of $100, okay? And then somebody comes along and they say, ooh, I can get a flight on blah, blah for $35. You know what I think? The first thing I think? Well, for $35, who's paying the mechanic that's going to maintain that plane, okay? And where am I sitting, on the wing? You know, I mean, you know, or you know what? We joked around about it a couple of weeks ago. We actually joked around about it. Yeah, you pay $35 for a ticket, but you got to fly. You know what happens is they put everybody on the plane, and then they stand up and go, "Okay, is anybody here a pilot?" You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to pay. Sometimes I would rather pay the price and know in my mind that I feel secure enough to know that the company that's standing behind this has enough funds to be able to pay the mechanic, to be able to pay the pilot, and to be able to make sure that we're going to get from point A to point B safely. You know what I'm saying? So that's
well, I will tell you this: air travel is very safe because the FAA makes it safe. When I was talking about aircraft, the amount of maintenance and things, and that's why people let someone else operate their plane to help offset all those costs. So aviation in America, I will tell you this, is very safe, but you do get what you pay for. You know, so that's kind of that is. Yes, ma'am.
That's Helen, by the way. Say hello. I should have introduced you. This is Helen. We have
Morning.
Helen, we have Jay, and we have Lisa on with us this morning. So go ahead,
Jay
Helen.
stepped away
Helen,
for 1
Jay,
minute.
Lisa, and Eric.
Yep, that's me. That's it. Go ahead.
What is your typical customer like? Because you said some people like to fly to games, maybe bachelorette parties, corporate functions. What's the bulk of your flights about, and who is your typical customer?
Helen, you sound like you're in marketing for me. That you kind of summed it up. Well, we started Players Jets, which is where we started, and it's called Players Jets because we started flying professional golfers. I'm here in Ponte Vedra, Jacksonville, Florida. Have friends that play on a PGA Tour. Some of those guys have flown with me, and that's kind of how we got started flying. So that's where the name came from. And then our target customer are typically, you know, households, $150,000 and up is kind of our target, and we target people to do game day trips. Next week, for instance, we're doing a trip to NASCAR. We have a NASCAR experience to every race on the NASCAR circuit where you become a team member for the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get to go to the pit box. It's a lower-end NASCAR team, but you get your name on the car. When the flyover and they're announcing Jeff Gordon and everybody, you're out there on the track. So it's a great experience. We're doing that next week in Atlanta Motor Speedway. We do game day trips. So if your team, if you're an Alabama fan, a Florida State fan, an Ohio State fan, I had a guy, Ohio State group, called me yesterday saying, hey, we want to do the Ohio State-Michigan game this year. So those are who we target, and you mentioned bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, family weekends. We have RealGuysWeekend.com, RealGirlsWeekend.com, and RealFamilyWeekend.com, where we offer weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weekend trips for groups. If a group of guys want to go play golf for their buddy's bachelor party, they can jump on a plane and go to the Bahamas, play golf, have a bachelor party. Ladies can go to Savannah. And they're all regional, so all the flights are within 1 to 2 hours. So you're there, you land, the car picks you up, takes you to a house or high-end hotel, whatever the accommodations are. And we set up everything from the plane, the transportation, the housing, usually an event. If it's golf, we'll set up your golf. And then on Sunday at 2 or 3 o'clock, car picks you up.
You don't just do, you set up the plane and that travel. You're from picking them up from the
concierge,
house.
more like a concierge service. Everything.
Uber of jets.
Uber for jets.
Well, I got a buddy that does Uber. We're different because you only go with your group. So groups are typically anywhere from 6 to 10 people, sometimes 12. You're a guy in Dallas and you want to go to Vail for the weekend. We have it set up. You fly from Dallas, you land at Eagle Vail, car picks you up, you and your family ski for 3 days. Toward the end of the day on Sunday, car picks you up, takes you back to the airfield, you're back home an hour and a half, 2 hours later. So we do all of those. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Lamont, do you fly international at all?
International, well, we offer some regional places. Well, out of the United States, we go to Canada. You can go to Cuba. You can go to Mexico. We don't get, because when you get into international, you get into some very, very, very expensive flights because you have to have a plane that gets across the pond. So planes that get across the pond are very expensive, and we haven't gotten into that. That is a luxury market because that's not my target client because those are the one percenters, and I didn't grow up a one percenter. My dad worked for the government, but I didn't grow up a one percenter. I want it so that this is attainable for a person that doesn't have to be a millionaire. And then, we even make it easier. Our trips typically are 0% interest. You can pay them off in 6 months. So you go somewhere, spend a few $1,000 to go. You in a group, they say, hey, within 1 minute, you go to our blisspace.com/playersjets, put your information in. 1 minute, we give you an approval, and then you just put that in your invoice, and you pay for your trip, and you pay for it in month by month, or you pay it off at the end of 6 months, whatever you want to do. 0% interest anytime you travel.
So let me understand this. So you do have so in other words, you have a program whereby you can split the payments up for the trip.
Yes.
That's fabulous.
Nashville.
That's
we need this jet for Nashville.
That's fabulous.
Eric.
That really. Well, we got because with the show here, we are actually being told and called on to go to certain places. But I would like to work out something where we heard maybe where he was putting together a trip like where we could do something like that for enjoyment for us. You know what I'm saying? Where we could go and actually, as a musician, one of the things they have like things like rock and roll fantasy camp. And it's thousands of dollars to go and stand on stage and be able to play with The Who or to be able to play with Peter Frampton or that type of thing. And to a musician, that's that's like a fantasy type of thing. So this is like what he's talking about now, and I happen to notice it on your LinkedIn page as well with regards to like the Nashville experience. So many Nashville fans out there. Can you imagine if you're really? And I know somebody like Vinny Cash. And I know Vinny's so into Nashville. Not into NASCAR, excuse me. That for something like that to be able to say, I stood on I was in the pit or I was there and I did this. This is it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and people spend thousands of dollars on vacations. That they go on vacation and they come home and they say, wow, it would cost me a lot of money, but I don't feel like it was really, I'm not happy when I get home. Something like this you do, it's like you're getting on a private jet, you're going and you're spending the day, in a sport and an activity that you love, and then you come home and you go, wow, that was a once-in-a-lifetime thing that I'll never forget, and it was well worth the money. And now he's giving you the opportunity to be able to do it and pay it off, so you don't have to necessarily say, well, I don't have that to lay out right now. He makes it affordable, and that is the sign of an entrepreneur and a marketing individual that is fabulous. It truly is to do that. Helen, your lips are
Lamont,
moving.
I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have two pilots? Are they Learjets? Do you have two pilots when you're flying, or just one?
Remember when I spoke with Eric earlier? We have planes everywhere, and it's regulated. So it's getting into regulations and kind of getting into a little bit. It's regulated. It's called Part 135. That's charter aviation, and you have to have two pilots on the aircraft.
I think Helen was Helen. You could say it. Helen was like, "So what if we all get on this plane and all of a sudden the pilot goes?"
Well, we don't have to worry about that.
Really.
The maintenance is up to date, and then so we always when you're regulated, you have to follow all the regulations. You don't ever have to worry about that. And like I said, aviation. I once read a story that if you drove a car every day and if you got on an airplane every day, you were 300% more likely to die of a car crash than you were if you flew on an airplane every day.
Well, now I feel better.
Well, good. I feel so much better now.
So think about that.
Lamont,
yes.
What do you offer the clients on the plane? What are they given?
What are the amenities in the plane?
Do you have flight attendants?
Everyone has these ideas of aviation being like you see on TV, on the Blacklist. You got these huge planes. Private aviation, you're flying, planes are not large. And no, there's not a flight attendant because those planes are the ones that the 1% are flying. Because an 8-passenger plane, I'm 6'3". When I walk on the thing, I do have to duck and get in my seat and sit down. So no, there's not a flight attendant, but you have alcohol, you have sodas, you have chips. But remember, you're not on the plane but for an hour to an hour
Is
and a
there
half,
a
2 hours
restroom?
max.
So there's not going to be some.
Yes, there's a restroom.
No, you
These
gotta-
are high-end planes. There are restrooms. So if you're enjoying a beverage, you can go to the bathroom and relieve yourself.
So
Yeah.
we're not going to have.
Just
You're not.
checking.
So I'm not going to have some foreign, like 6-foot tall model coming up to me and saying,
I
"Would you
am
like
your
a
six
would you
feet
would you
tall
like a glass of wine, sir?" Like.
Well, Eric,
That's
I
right,
can
Chase.
put you on that plane, but once again, you remember we talked about those levels of service?
Yep.
We can get you on a plane with a flight attendant.
You know what,
larger planes do come with flight
Well,
attendants.
when you meet my wife someday and we get on one of these planes and we're there, you know what the service is going to be? My wife's going to be carrying a little nap snack. She's going to hand me a tuna sandwich and a Diet Pepsi. Here you go.
Exactly.
Sit back, eat this, and shut up, Eric. That's what I'll get.
Exactly.
So how long would a flight be out of Republic to Nashville, Tennessee? Just asking.
Where is Republic? I
Well,
don't
let's say
know
Teterboro. Say Teterboro.
Farmingdale.
Teterboro
It's
to
Farmingdale, New York,
Nashville.
Long Island.
Well, it would be we would
Jets,
fly. We would
Jets
have to.
come into
Yeah,
Jets
no.
come into Republic.
But we would fly out of.
Jets
Trust
come
me
into
on this one.
Republic.
Teterboro to Nashville. How far? How
Teterboro.
long?
You fly out of Teterboro. Matter of fact, it is about probably about an hour and a half.
That's not bad, considering.
Okay.
All right, question.
And remember, you
Yep.
don't have security. You walk up, they look at you. The pilot looks at your driver's license because I filed the manifest. You get on the plane in 5 minutes. You're enjoying your glass of champagne and you're flying through the air
There you
You
go.
don't go through security. How does that work?
Because you're on.
because it's private aviation. You do not have to go through security.
So where would I? So say I drive to Teterboro. Where do I park? I just park in the regular parking lot. Where do I go
You
from
will
there?
park it. You will park at
The
what's
building.
called an FBO. It'd be like Signature. We use Signature there or Shelt Air. They're like a private airport.
It is.
Like the one in Fort Lauderdale. I was there the other day. Unbelievable. You walk in, they got Jags and Mercedes inside this place. But you walk in, you can get sodas. They give you whatever you want, and your plane's sitting right outside. You go through the doors, open up. You walk on your plane, and then you get in there and you go.
Years ago, I used to be Bill Fugazi's limo driver for Fugazi Limo, and he used to fly. He used to fly out of Teterboro, and I can remember actually driving like we would drive right up to the plane. And I'd open the door, he'd get out of the car.
Exactly.
He'd get out of the car,
Yeah.
he'd walk right, get right on the plane, and I'd drive away, and that was the end of it. So, Lamont,
Well, one question.
Sure.
His real name was Fugazi.
yes, Fugazi, Bill Fugazi, absolutely.
Sounds Fugazi
Back in
to
the
me.
well, I don't know how old you are. I don't know how old you are. Okay, but this was back in the day in like the '60s, late '60s, early '70s. You would see commercials. You'd have Bob Hope with a golf club standing next to a limo, and he would be promoting Fugazi Limo, and that was like that was Fugazi Limousines was really popular here in New York City, and back in those I had Steven Tyler back in the day in the car, and I was a limo driver. I did limo driving for a while, so I can remember. I know
Hey.
Teterboro Airport. So, Lamont, if you had
Mont, have you ever come into Republic Airport or any of the airports?
what is
out
it
on
with
the
you and
islands for the
Republic
Hamptons?
Airport? Why you don't like going to Jersey or what?
No, I'm
I
talking about Republic
I can
Airport.
get you. You can fly out of LaGuardia if you want to. You can fly out of JFK.
No, thanks.
They all have a private side.
Right.
So
Okay.
whichever airfield is closer to you, we get you closer. But Teterboro is the busiest private airport in America.
Helen would have you landing on Hempstead Turnpike in Levittown.
I mean, I can get you a helicopter down to the Lower East Side and pick you up and take you to the airfield if you want to.
See that, Helen?
Thank you,
when you
Lamont,
when you
very
become when you become a famous broadcaster, which I'm sure you are in your own right now, and you will be, all of us will be. Anyway, Lamont, if you had to stop and think about the toughest thing as far as gaining success in your life, what obstacle did you hurdle in order to get to where you are today?
People telling you can't.
Okay, there you go. So somebody says you can't. What's your answer to them?
I can't. Like when I started, people say you will never get an airplane in the air. Okay, my first year we had 4 or 5, which was for a startup company is great, and it gets more and more and more. So if somebody tells you can't, you can. But there's always other obstacles. Companies fail for typically a few reasons. Owner's knowledge. But typically, if someone starts something, they might have a knowledge of it, they can learn. But cash flow is the biggest thing that stymies all companies. And as you grow, you have to either start making a lot or you have to start looking to investment or different vehicles to get there. So cash flow and investment and money is the key to, in my opinion, to making a business grow. And as you grow, you can grow too fast sometimes and you can fail. So there's a lot of things that, play a role in that.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite thing about this? What do you love about what you do?
It's a lot. You know what? Making people smile and people come back to you, because these are experiences that the average person doesn't think is attainable. And then if it is, how do I do it? And I can't afford it. That's the key. Is it cost of what you could get on Southwest for? No. Is it a lot more expensive? Relatively speaking, but the experience in doing this, I've had people that have gotten on a plane and went to a game, and at the end of the night, they're like, this was so good. This was amazing. We're at home with our kids at night. We went to the game. Our kids got to go. So, it's a lot of things. It makes people smile. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
How many people can go on a plane? How many planes do you have, and how many people can go on those planes?
Remember, I have access to planes anywhere in the world. I can put as few as 4, and I can put as many as 200 or 300 if you want a commercial airliner. So it's typically, but getting 400 of your closest friends to get on a plane would probably be pretty difficult.
Right.
But Oprah did it. She took everybody to Hawaii on a big plane. She chartered 2 commercial 747s to take everybody to Hawaii. So it could happen, but Oprah's not on my. She's not in my Rolodex, and she hasn't called me lately. So.
I'll give her a call. I'll give her friends call her. I'll give her a call later and hook you guys up.
What is your favorite place that you have been?
Probably we took the plane down to where was it? It was in the Bahamas. We got to play golf and did that. So, because remember, these are regional trips. We don't go long distances.
Right.
Because, like New York, you can go into Canada. But see, you're in New York. Where do you really want to go? When I made out our target areas to go in New York, I'm like, nothing's really close. And if you live in New York, where do you really want to go? Like if you're in Charlotte, you can go to New York. If you're in Chicago, you can go to New York.
Yeah.
Now, I love Chicago, though. Chicago is probably, one of my favorite places.
Oh, okay.
Okay, how
Very
about
good.
this? Is there any place that you haven't been yet that you would like to go?
Yeah. We don't have enough time to me name those places.
Right, very true.
Okay.
I want to give a special shout out here. I'm going down. Hold on one second. I want to give a shout out. Where is he here? Hold on, because Jimmy DeVivo. I hope I'm saying your name right, Jimmy. Jimmy says. Vivo.
Jimmy. Yes.
He says, good morning, crew. Manhattan Limo was big, too. He was the doorman at the plaza for years. So I want to thank, and we got so many people on the chat room, Sean and Barbara and Heather. And
not only that, but can I also say
Danny.
You have about a dozen people that have joined us on our website that I've tagged and said hello to, and they're all looking to get a download of this episode. I pointed to our Spreaker page so you can get this. But seriously, a dozen people jumped in at about the same time, and they're like, "Where's Lamont? Where's Lamont? He's coming. Just give him a second. He's got to call first."
He's in the Bahamas. Anyway, Lamont, listen, it's been a pleasure. You know what? I love. First off, one of the things I love to do, I do a lot of interviews over the years, and the one thing I look to is I love to do interviews with successful people, because people like Lamont will tell you the way it is, all right? This was not something that he just woke up one morning and said, okay, this is going to be easy. No, he told you point blank, people are going to tell you, no, you can't do this. And people told me that I couldn't do what we're doing right now. They still tell me I can't do it right now. Helen tells me every morning I can't. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. But the bottom line is you can. If you put your mind to something, it's like, what I always remember? There's 2 things. Number one, I remember the end of movies. There's 2 movies that I'll recommend you watch only the end of. If you don't want to watch the movie, just watch the end of it. The first movie you want to watch is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original. Not the dark one with Johnny Depp there. You want to watch the original one where they're flying through the sky and the song song is, it talks about, there's a song that plays and he talks about Willy Wonka and he says to Charlie with the song Imagination. That's number one. The second one is Back to the Future. The last thing that Doc Brown says to Marty as they're standing there on the tracks as he's getting on to get on his train and take off again into the future, the one thing he says is that your future is not written for you, okay? You can change anything. You can do anything you want to do. People like Lamont are inspirations. You can look at someone like Lamont, and he's not afraid to talk to you. He's not afraid to answer questions. But he's a business person. He's a successful entrepreneur. And as I said when we started the interview out, you want to follow a roadmap for success, follow somebody that is successful. They'll tell you the ups, they'll tell you the downs, and you got to realize it's not easy, folks. He got where he is because of hard work. And even now, as a successful entrepreneur, I'm sure he'll tell you that it's hard work every single day to keep things up and running and alive. So, Lamont, your final comments for everybody. What do you want to say to everybody? What advice would you give to everybody out there that's listening right now?
Hey, just stick to your dream and, don't let anybody tell you no. And but for closing, can I tell anybody out there how to reach me? Is that okay, Mr. Eric?
No, you can't. No,
absolutely.
No, absolutely not. We're going to hang up right now.
You can find me. You can find us, Players Jets. We're on Twitter, Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at Lamont_Huffman. Instagram at PlayersJets_CEO. You can find me on Instagram. Get in touch with me. And in closing, I want to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the faculty, students, and family in Parkland, Florida.
Absolutely.
For the school shoot.
I got to say one thing. I am going to be in touch with you because I think with the different things that we have a lot of NASCAR fans. We have the type of programs that you offer and the ability to be able to, let's say, do it with 0% financing, to be able to pay it off. I think a lot of people out there don't know that something like what you're offering exists, and I would really like to be able to help bring it to them. So we have a couple things that we'd like to talk to you about, so I'll be calling you off the air for that. But once again, give them the website address, if you would, Lamont.
That's Players Jets. That's PLAYERS Jets.com, and Real Guys Weekend, Real Girls Weekend, and Real Family Weekend.com.
Okay, Real Guys. Write that down, somebody, because my
Real Guys, Real Girls, and Real Family Weekend.com.
I'll tell you what.
We are revamping those three Players Jets. They're getting revamped right now with our developers. But the Players Jets, our main website, is up and going, and the other ones are up. But we're revamping them, going to where you can pick your destination right from the website, and then we send you a quote.
Absolutely, Lamont.
Oh, go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry, Eric.
Go ahead.
Lamont, I want to thank you. I've been wanting to reach out to you for quite a while now. I'm glad that I did. Thank you for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Jay, your comments for Lamont.
You are an incredible person, and I'm so glad that this has finally been shared. I didn't even know anything like this existed, and I thank you for your time this morning.
Helen?
Hey, thank you guys.
Sorry, Helen?
Lamont, thank you so much. A lot of great information, and I think we should see about Nashville. Just saying. Thank you, Lamont.
Let me know. I'm here for you guys.
And now the man that looks for discount coupons and tickets to head towards Afghanistan, Magic Mike. Mike, what do you got to say? What do you got to say, Mike? Hold on, I got to turn Mike's mic on. That would be helpful here. Hold on. Hold on. Go ahead, Mike. What do you got to say?
Details.
One more time.
The minor details. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this show. It was very insightful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Very welcome, Mike. You're welcome. Lamont, it's been a pleasure. It is, and I'll be calling you off the air. Like I said, I think what you offer is great. I want to thank everybody for listening. And if you have any questions or anything like that for Lamont, I'm sure you could check him out on Facebook.
Also, for all of Lamont's fans that, like I said, that joined us on our little chat room that is on our website, the episode will be available. We'll post it to our Copper Crew Facebook page, and you'll also be able to see it on our website, so you can download it and take a listen to it again.
And also, all of Lamont's fans, if you found this morning that this voice is very attractive to you and that you want to listen to the show again, I will be offering colored, glossy 5x7s of myself, autographed. All right.
Lamont is a very good-looking man.
It gets better. I'll be standing next to a Learjet. I won't be getting on it. I won't be owning it. But I want you, when you look at the picture, I want you to go.
You won't be allowed to touch it.
I won't be allowed to touch it. I'll be behind a fence. The plane will be on the tarmac, and I'll be in the parking lot. It'll be photoshopped in, and everybody will look at it and go, wow, look at him. He's a successful broadcaster. He's even got his own plane. And when you ask me, I'll go, nope. I ride on players jets. There you go. So there you go. Lamont, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Lamont.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Lamont.
Bye.
All right. So there we go. All right. So why don't we take
Great interview.
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we have different things that we do on this show. The first thing we do is we spotlight small business owners, okay? A small business owner, definition of a small business owner is just that. They own a business here, Long Island, somewhere in the country, and they deal with consumers and they have a business, all right? Now, Lamont has a business. He does. But I consider him an entrepreneur, okay? Everybody can be considered an entrepreneur. What we did today was something called the Entrepreneur Spotlight. Because in addition to talking to him about what he does as a business owner, we're talking to someone that has really reached a point in his life where he's successful, and he was told that he couldn't do something, and he did. So I'm going to be I have a lot. I believe me, I have a lot of. I have people that I can be reaching out to and doing interviews and bringing them on the show, because I think the roadmap type of concept where you want to talk to someone that has gone to and is where you would like to see yourself be. How did they get there? What were their pitfalls? What were their mistakes? You know, he talked this morning about the fact, you know, what person is going to get up and say, if you don't have money, you're not going to make it. You know, a lot of people say, well, you don't need money to make it. Yeah, you do. That's the bottom line. Certain businesses that you get involved in, you need cash flow. Okay, and then you have the negativity. Oh, you'll never do it. You know, you can't do this because you can't do that. And you can't do this. I mean, you can. We have a gentleman that we had in the studio here, and I'm going to invite them back. John and his father. John has Down syndrome. I just saw a recent article about him again. He wanted to start a business with his father, and they started Crazy Socks. It's a business that produces socks, you know, with designs on them and things like that. And this young man has Down syndrome. And when we brought them into the studio, I expected to spend more time talking to the father. I didn't. I spent the time talking to John himself, and it was because, you know, he knew his business. Disability doesn't have to stop somebody from being successful. That was a lesson we learned with him. You know, John Lee Dumas, 6 figures, doing a daily podcast, 6 figures a month doing a podcast. People say it'll
Really?
6 figures, and he posts his financial statements on a monthly basis on his website and shows you exactly where the money came from. He's no
Oh,
joke.
that's right. You showed me that. Yeah.
All right, you know, Pat Flynn, another Pat Flynn. He was an architect. All right, an architect that came into work one day, got canned. They pulled the floor out from underneath him. He was an unemployed architect. What's he going to do? He starts the Passive Income Podcast. 6 figures a month he's making. And there are people out there that can't, you know, that are saying with regards to shows and things like that, they can't make money doing it. Yes, I'm just saying this. Yes, you can. So it's like, we're going to bring you inspirational people. We're going to bring you people like Helen Sinigliero and her show, 17 Seconds. You know, if you've never had the opportunity to really listen to Helen and what she's saying, she makes sense. You know, people, listen, in today's world, modern technology brings you voices at a click of a button. There's somebody out there that has something. Like I say when I do the show interview, everybody has something everybody has something that you can learn from them. Something. Jay has skills that he has that I can learn from Jay. Lisa, well, okay, never mind. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. Lisa,
Love you,
I
Lisa.
have skills nobody can handle.
Lisa does.
Oh.
All right.
You know what? I got to tell you something. We'll talk about this show for a second. All right. Mike came to us as an intern. All right. Graduate of Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Okay. We didn't know each other from Adam. He came as an intern. Look at him now. All right. You know, we deal with, you know, Helen. All right. Helen, you know, with her prior radio experience in college and things like that. She'll tell you point blank she's living her dream. Not because of the radio broadcast, but because she gets to see me every day. All right. No,
It's true.
It's true. You know, and she's and developing herself now. You know, we're talking about it yesterday and saying, you know, people saying, well, I want to be a broadcaster. No, you already are. Lisa, never really been behind a microphone before. You know, coming into a show like this and sharing her life, putting her life out there and saying, you know, people know more about Lisa than sometimes I think Lisa would like people to know, but yet she shares her life and she shares her life stories because as a professional broadcaster and as part of this show as a host, all right, she has developed that talent to be able to do that. And there are people out there that hear, like yesterday in talking with, you know, with Christy Beck, you know, hooking up with people where her story will help somebody else. That's what it's about. It's about being able to listen to other people and learning something. You know, Jay, of course, you know, Jay and I met 3 years ago doing exactly what we're doing right now, and me just saying, hey, why don't you come on the show? But like when people, between my wife Linda and my wife Jay, people that have technical issues, okay, will reach out to them. Now,
That's for sure.
Now, how can you say, when you have somebody that's like, if Helen's in New York and Jay's in Delaware, and he has the ability to be able to determine what's going on, what's wrong, either by going into her computer or just advising her what to do. That's a talent. That's a skill. Jay is a broadcaster with The Shuffle, the show that he does.
Yes.
All right. Bringing in the people from Hunted, reaching out to CBS, not being afraid to pick up that phone, and not being intimidated by saying, I'm small and you're large. These are skills that we learn as broadcasters here on this show. Janet Russell, 77 years old, that has been, if you might see Janet as a 77-year-old woman with a pacemaker, sitting at a table doing a morning show. Reach out and check out Janet's history. She's got one hell of a history out there as far as the shows that she's done radio in England. She's been all over the map, and she has a history.
She runs circles around all of us.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
That's true.
And it's like, and her history, just, you don't realize some of the write-ups and some of the articles and some of the magazines and some of the interviews and things that have been done about Janet Russell, it's like, it's amazing. So it's like, nobody can tell you can't do something. If you truly put your heart into it and your mind into it, it can be done. That's it. That's the lesson we learned today from Lamont Huffman, is that, first off, he ain't doing anything for free. Okay.
Clearly.
All right. Even, because he doesn't, we learned, he knows his business. He detailed to us, in fact, he knows his business. Okay. And he took a concept where he said maybe people wouldn't be able necessarily to do a family, a group, or a guy or a girl thing, and he put it together so that people can. That's a sign of an entrepreneur. We see it all the time. One of my favorite shows is Shark Tank. You see these people that come on and you go, how do they think about this? How do they do things like this? How do they come up with these ideas? That's what's called.
That just annoys me.
What do you mean? What annoys you?
They come up with these ideas that are so simple and so ingenious, and then I think, why didn't I think of that? Yeah. Damn.
I was
thinking, it just amazes me. It really does. It's fascinating.
When I sit there and I listen to Shark Tank, I try to think outside the box. Like a portable ass wiper. Who would come up with that idea? You don't want to touch your own ass, so you're gonna, But something like that, and you're gonna, Helen's looking at me now like I'm crazy. But the bottom line is, you go before. That's the type of thing where somebody would go, yeah, I'd buy that.
Best
Thank
invention.
you, Randy Steele. Randy Steele in Facebook chat posted Players Jets website.
There you go.
Thank you, Randy.
Who would have bought a pet rock?
Seriously. Really,
exactly.
That's so annoying.
That's a great example.
Who owns a
What are you talking about? A pet rock? What are you talking about?
You never heard of a pet rock?
You've never heard of a pet rock?
Even I had a pet rock.
Listen, back in the 70s, you used to be able to go into a store. You would go into a store, and there would be a brown box, and in that box was a rock, and it was a pet rock. You would buy it as a pet. It was your pet rock.
You can go to the Wading River Beach. They have the biggest rocks there.
Right, but
you can buy one, paint it, and write on it.
But somebody,
really quick,
you guys sent me a potato, written on it. Happy birthday potato.
Do you still have that?
Yes, I do. What are you gonna say, Jay? What?
Really quick, can I just give a shout out to Randy Steele, who's hanging out with us in Facebook Live right now?
Sure.
I want to tell everybody what he did yesterday. I don't know if I got a chance to do this.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
So yesterday, when we were having a little discussion about our joke about the couple who sold everything.
I'm hearing us. Somebody got a phone on?
No, that was me.
All right,
I'm playing in the background.
Go ahead.
So this is what we were talking about yesterday.
Tampa, Florida. But here's the thing:
yeah.
There are
determined. This is why she says, "Oh, I want to see the world." So I'm like, "All right, baby, I'll buy you a boat." We were discussing the boat story yesterday, right? And yeah, you know it's coming, don't you? Our favorite part.
Helen.
Man falls overboard, you should yell, "Man overboard!" You know what you should yell for woman falls overboard?
What's that?
Full speed ahead. So we were discussing a story about a couple that sold everything and bought a boat. Okay, and I jokingly said, because Lisa and I were playing the husband and wife who sold all of our belongings to buy a boat. Look, Helen's crying, guys. Helen's laughing so hard she's crying.
We sold everything. I sold my soul to the devil. I get my stuff done so I look pretty for you.
All right.
Yeah, you want to
What a waste.
You're holding that piece of wood in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, God.
Did you just say she's holding your
So anyway, we mentioned Randy Steele. I joked to say, hey, because Randy actually jumped into our Facebook Live a couple of days ago, mentioned that he had a boat and he was going to pick Lisa up and take her away from all the chaos that she has to endure on the show. We're like, cool, sounds like a whole lot of fun. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Well, Randy clipped that video and posted it to his Facebook page with some really kind words. Some of you know I've been auditing the Cop and Crew No Holds Bar morning show and put a link to our Facebook page in there lately. This is not an often funny radio show. It's an often very funny V radio, which I'm assuming stands for virtual radio show. Watch him and listen live for a mention of yours truly. You can also listen tomorrow morning, beginning at 7 a.m. Eastern, hashtag #SteelAlmostFamous. So I wanted to say thank you because not only did you give us a laugh for going back and be able to watch this again, with comments such as this one.
All the time as a kid, he lied.
God, listen, sitting in the bathtub with a boat,
Paper boats.
So, Randy, thank you again for the kind words.
Thank you, Randy.
There goes the girls. The girls have lost it.
Oh, God.
Thank you again for the kind words.
Thanks, Randy.
Posting that to your Facebook page and sharing it with your friends.
I truly, and I gotta tell you, I truly appreciate all of you listeners out there, and I really have to say thank you to those of you out there that really interact with us and say things like that, because we sit here and we're doing our thing, and thank God for things like Facebook and LinkedIn and the ability to be able to read and hear what you have to say, because it could be a very if we don't know what's going on out there, if we didn't have you telling us that you were enjoying the show and making the comments, that meant so much to me, Randy, yesterday. It truly did. And those of you out there that have done testimonials for us and given us our ratings on Facebook and just thank you.
When Danny and I go down to Fort Lauderdale in June, I already reached out to Randy and I said I would like to meet him, so I'll meet him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell him to come up here. We'll put him on.
Did we just get a phone call?
Yeah, I did. I'm going to answer it in 1 second. Now, I'm just going to give you a for instance here, real quick, and this is just a for instance, okay? Janet Russell texted me, okay? She just sent me a Facebook message, okay? And I'm going to share this with everybody really quick. It says, you may have a small polyp. They can laser it. If I'm not concerned, maybe change certain foods. But she's talking about a polyp, okay? And the thing is, I don't even remember talking to her about this necessarily. I think she might have heard that I was going to the doctor this morning, but she comes up with these things and she says things like this, and it's like, wow, Janet, how'd you know that? But anyway, thank you, Janet. All right. I believe we have Ed Muniz on the phone. Are you there, Ed?
I'm here.
Okay, listen, I asked Ed to come on. Ed Muniz is, of course, he's a co-host of Everything Matters with Ed Muniz and David Zier. They do their show here Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock, and they are the voice of the common American. But Ed is also a retired New York City police officer, and also now with 11 Management private security firm. In the past couple of months, he's done security details for some very, very high and influential people, as well as spending time, weeks at a time, in Puerto Rico handling security details down there. But I asked him on this morning to give us his comments with regards to the high school shooting, Ed. So if you would, Ed, what say you, Ed? What do you have to say about all this that's going on?
Well, good morning, everybody, and prayers and condolences to the families and the victims of everybody affected down in Parkland, Florida. This is something that is plaguing our country over the last several years, and there has to be solutions. David and I've been talking about when I had Kevin as well. These school shootings, unfortunately, happen all the time, and we have to find solutions. We have to find ways to protect our children. And Brian Kilmeade on Fox and Friends this morning asked a couple of senators and politicians that he had on, do we have the ability to allow these guys and these women who are retired cops, ex-military, that are doing school security to carry firearms? It's the only chance that these kids have. I'm sorry. Tragedy is going to happen. We have mentally disturbed people. I think one of the solutions is, we have to, when it comes to purchasing firearms or assault rifles, you want to protect the Second Amendment. However, I think the HIPAA laws have to come into effect and allow allow the government or allow the gun dealers to find out through a background check that this person has had, some mental issues, in and out of therapy, domestic violence. The privacy at some point you have to come up with a correct balance. That's my belief.
My question is how did the 17-year-old have a rifle?
Well, that's.
Excuse me?
I mean,
the 17.
How did this
I can answer that.
17-year-old
I can answer. Well, I'll answer.
Have this rifle, and it was, I assume, an assault rifle. I don't know what it was. It was a.
It was an AK. It was an AK-15, and what it was
that's an assault rifle, right?
It was a civilian M16, which is a semi-automatic with restrictions on it.
Yes.
It's not exactly what the military uses, but he was 19 years old, not 17. Maybe raising the age to 21 to purchase firearms. But I have to tell you the truth. And you looked at it. You look at it in the eyes of terrorists. A lot of the places where they're going in Europe, they're even in Paris, they use AK-47s. Where do they get them? They get them stolen.
I mean, raising the age is something, but don't you think that if somebody wants to get a hold of a gun like that, they're still going to get a hold of it, no matter what the age is?
Listen, he could have went in. He could have went in, pulled the fire alarm, ran back outside into a pickup truck, and ran over 100 kids.
True.
So if there's evil, in that person's mind, and they want to do something destructive, it doesn't always have to be the gun.
Hey,
you don't need a gun.
Ed, did you hear that he's from Long Island?
I did not know he was from Long Island.
Yeah, here's the deal. Real quick, I'll give you a little backup because I found out a lot of stuff here. He was originally from Long Island. He was adopted. The Cruz parents had adopted him. The father passed away a couple of years ago. I have the obituary from Riverhead. The mother, the adopted mother, just recently passed away in November. He was living here in Long Island. He wasn't happy here in Long Island, so he asked to go stay with family members in Broward County, so they sent him to Florida. What the family members down there are saying is that they had no idea that he had an issue like this, yet he had this weapon they made him keep it in a cabinet, but they gave him the key. Okay? He was expelled from his school because of violence. His Facebook page spoke of violence. His entire lifestyle spoke of violence. He told other students at the school that he was going to shoot up the school and spoke of violence. Yet everybody's sitting there saying, we didn't see any problems. You know what I'm saying? So I say this. This is what I say. I say,
go
ahead.
Here's my issue. I think in our society we've become so politically correct that people are afraid to say anything. It happened in San Bernardino.
Yep.
That office shooting for that holiday party with the terrorists. When they saw this guy, they had Muslim men of age of 30 to 40 years old coming in and out of the garage, banging noises all night long. They were making pipe bombs. People were nervous about it. They didn't want to be the one to be, the Islamophobe calling up and saying, "Hey, there's Muslim men going in and out of a garage all hours of the night."
Right.
So the PC world has really hurt us as a society.
True.
I got to tell you, you know what, Ed? I think that's so cowardly, because I have to say, if I saw something like that, Muslims or anybody of any race going in and out of a garage and hearing bang, 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 you got to. I mean, are you serious? They didn't call the authorities and say, "Hey, listen, something funky's going on."
When they interviewed them with the initial FBI investigation. The witnesses, on several witnesses, had said the same exact thing, that they had seen Muslim men in their 30s, 40s going in and out. And every one of those neighbors said they were afraid to call because in the state of California, they've made it so difficult on everybody and everything. I mean, look at this. You're looking at a situation where if you're in the fence business and you want to put a bid in to do Trump's wall, they're going to blacklist you from doing business. This is the government of California saying they're going to blacklist you from doing business ever again in California. Okay, so it's become so polarized that it's come full circle now, and it's going to start costing us lives. And
Yep. And I want to start. I said this morning, and I'm very serious about this. I now have concerns for my child's safety in school. So therefore, I think we as adults and as parents here in New York, at least, need to start an organization which is geared up towards making it so that we want armed guards. You said it last night. I don't need armed guards in the school necessarily. We need armed guards outside the school. Right now, if you go to some of these school districts, and I'll take mine for instance, if you go to the school district, you'll pull up to the school and you'll see a white car with a yellow light on the top of it that says security. In that car is probably either someone that is just a security guard, or they might be a retired law enforcement officer. I'm not saying they're not.
Or a rented cop.
But their head is on the headrest, and they're waiting for Johnny to come out and cut school. That's not what they need to be there for. We need somebody out there with a weapon that is.
Listen, but listen, if you're outside and if you're law enforcement, retired law enforcement, you do a school security, okay, and this is your second job, or this is, your retired job, the issue becomes, now everybody knows that we have armed guys and they're outside a building sitting in a car with a yellow light on top. They become the first target.
Yeah.
Because they know that they have weapons because they're sitting outside. We passed a new law. We make an amendment to the SAFE Act of New York City, of New York State, and now these guys, they're the first targets. They're going to be taken out first.
So what do you do?
That's why you need to have these. I'm telling you, most of our schools on Long Island, I would say 85 to 90% of the school security are retired or active law enforcement moonlighting as a second job. Okay, these guys, the retired guys need to qualify every year. I have a special license. I'm retired. I have to qualify every year for an HR 218 license that allows me to carry my firearm anywhere in the United States of America, even on a plane going to a United States state or a territory. So these guys and women should have to qualify every year so they're proficient on their firearm, keep it concealed, but they have to be in that school. They have to have a pulse of what's going on. And if you're outside that building, and I was just saying it as a solution, as something, but the more you think about it, they become a target, because if we're able to amend the New York State School Safe Act and allows school security who are retired law enforcement to carry firearms, but you put them outside in a car with a yellow light, they become target number one.
So what do we do, Ed? How do we protect our kids?
We have to. I've been calling for this for 3 years now. We have to allow our school security, if they are let me tell you something, there are so many retired police officers in their 40s. We get on a job very young. I got on a job when I was 21. I'm 46. There's a ton of guys out there that are retired in their 40s that are in shape, that can, that want work. These guys want work. And I think instead of, a superintendent making $500,000 a year on Long Island, maybe they cut the salary down and they add a few dollars an hour extra, and you attract more and better and younger qualified retired police officers, men and women, and these guys know what to do. I mean, we travel, in sector cars. We go into housing projects. We travel the subways in some of the worst neighborhoods in the world. You put us in a high school. What is the problem by having a firearm in high school?
I agree.
And that firearm is only going to come out when there's a firearm. That's how we're taught in the police academy.
I agree.
When somebody's life's in imminent danger, and you have no other alternative. So, what is the issue of having somebody there? If you have the component of multiple security guards, again with law enforcement background, with firearms, we're saving a lot of people. Are we saving everybody? No.
Why are they against it, Ed? Why are they?
Why hasn't this been enforced?
Why are they against it?
Listen, I'll go one step further too. In the New York State Safe School Act, okay,
yes.
if you're a retired cop, which I'm allowed to carry my firearm anywhere, even on a plane, and if you're an active cop and you're off duty and you're going to go watch your son or daughter's football game or soccer game, sporting event. Right, you technically as a law enforcement with a license to carry anywhere, even an active cop, okay, he cannot step on the school grounds with a firearm.
It's a gun-free zone. Gun-free zone.
Gun-free zone. And it's ridiculous. The only one that's allowed with a firearm, is an actual cop on duty, okay, in a geographical area of employment. So in other words, if we're at Ward Melville High School, a 6th precinct cop in uniform, with his marked police car, he's allowed to go on with a firearm.
That's sad.
Now, do you believe that a lot of these school shootings that have taken place in this country, I'd say just in the past 5 years, are due to the fact that a lot of schools, especially public schools, are gun-free zones?
I just think yes. I mean, listen, the bad guy looks and says what? Oh, gun-free zone. I can't go in here. It has no bearing. It really has an adverse effect on the safety of our children. I have friends that are in the NYPD, in the Intelligence Division, Intel Bureau. I have friends that are part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. All I can tell you, and without giving up names and sources, these terrorists have plans for, and they've thwarted a bunch, but they have plans for attacking our schools because they know what is our most precious commodity as Americans.
Children.
What do we value?
Our children.
We value our children.
Yeah.
We value our families. Okay, and this is a major threat. And I've been talking about this on WLNY for a long time. And I've reached out to local assemblymen here, and nobody wants to get back to me. And I think we need to start a movement.
Yep,
because
I agree.
What is the issue? The issue is it's political. One side is dead set against guns, and they think that gun restriction and restricting gun ownership is going to solve, our gun problem. You look at Chicago, that had last year over 700 homicides, okay, and led the nation in homicides. You look at Baltimore; these cities, have the strictest gun laws, but it doesn't matter. There's still gun violence.
Yep.
And if this guy wasn't able to get an AR-15, he could have gotten a shotgun from Walmart. Or he could have broke into somebody's house and stolen their shotgun or AR-15. So what do we do now? If we're Americans, we're not allowed to have a shotgun in our home to protect ourselves from an invader in our home. And now, but if this guy breaks into a house and steals it, he's going to get his hand. A deranged mental person has to get the. If they want to do something, they're going to do it. Whether it was running people over with a car, a truck, creating a bomb, something.
So we need protection. We need to build. We need a wall. You know what I'm saying? And a wall. That wall would be a retired law enforcement officer that's in the building, that's trained with a weapon that could be a deterrent.
Eric, I got to say, I talk about this all the time. I was involved in a shooting in 1998. Where a store clerk I got shot. We faced the perpetrator with a Mac 11 machine gun. Listen, the bottom line is we're trained to go towards the threat. We're trained to go towards the shot. My mind is always thinking every time I'm out and I have my firearm, because I carry my firearm 24/7 wherever I go. And I'm always thinking of scenarios. And, I'm waiting to hear those gunshots in the mall. I'm waiting to see something in the Walmart or wherever it is. And, I'm trained and I'm going towards the gunshot. I might have 5 or 6 bullets on me, but you know what? Those are 5 or 6 lives that I could probably save if I can get to this guy. And that's the mentality of the majority of us retired and active law enforcement. That's what we're trained to do.
Yep. I agree.
You go into this business not because you're afraid of people, not because you're afraid of dying. It's because this is your calling. This is who you are.
Yep.
We're not going to be millionaires. We're not going to be millionaires. That's why these guys and women they're moonlighting for $18, $20 an hour at school security, but they can't even bring their firearm, which they've been qualified on their whole career. I mean, they can handle a firearm better than a baseball bat playing baseball.
I agree. Well,
so but what we have to do, seriously, and this is my solution. My solution is we have to amend this New York State Safe School Act, and we have to allow qualified men and women to carry firearms concealed. Inside the schools. I believe we have to start adopting more. I train and with my company now, we do a lot of corporations. We haven't done schools yet, but we do active shooter lessons. It's called Run, Hide, Fight. So there's a whole process that the kids have to prepare for it. I mean, if you look at it, in the last 10, 15 years, when was the last time you heard of a major school that went on fire where kids died?
Yeah, I know.
Can you tell me? Can anybody tell me?
I can't. Not a major fire.
So when was the last time that you heard of a man? But we have fire drills all the time.
Yep.
The kids are practicing fire drills.
Well, they even said. Well, it's funny.
When was the last time you heard of a high school? When was the last time you heard of a high school that went on fire where multiple children were killed.
You know, it's funny you said that because what he did yesterday was he pulled the fire alarm.
Yep.
Yeah.
To get the kids out, and the kids said they just thought it was another drill.
Yeah, because they had a drill earlier.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. How many of these high schools across America, which they all do fire drills because it's part of the law, but how many have had, and how many kids have been killed, right? Since Sandy Hook and all these school shootings, how many children have been killed due to active shooter situations?
Yep.
But yet, not every school has active shooter training, and they don't do it regularly.
I forget the exact number. I reported on it this morning. I was looking for my news article again here. It was in the hundreds as far as school shootings just this year.
But I want your listeners to think about that these schools do fire drills on a regular basis. And when was the last time a major fire struck a United States school where multiple kids were killed?
Yeah.
You know, but the reality is these school shootings, your child has a greater chance of getting harmed or even death because of an active shooter situation.
True.
So, listen, again, there's a couple of solutions, arming our security guards, also taking away the HIPAA portion. If you're going to buy a firearm, your mental or medical history should be allowed to be seen.
Yes.
And not detected, because that to me, this guy's had issues. He's had his issues before, and I know he was in therapy. And these things should be readily available for before you purchase a firearm, and his firearm would have been denied. However, that deranged, he would have found another method. That's what I believe. Evil is evil, no matter what.
Yep, absolutely. I got a picture on my Facebook page of them when they handcuffed Cruz, when they handcuffed this young man, and they rolled him over, and the look on his face, no expression, no remorse. So somebody somewhere had to know that this child, this young man, whatever you want to call him, had, everybody's saying it's the face of evil. Yeah, you know what?
I can't use an adjective on the radio.
I know, but you know what? But what I'm saying is somebody had to see something and nobody said anything, and now 17 people are dead because nobody wanted to get involved. The school dropped the ball. The people that were responsible where this man was living dropped the ball. A lot of people, they failed society. They failed those 17 people that were killed. And I'm with this on you, Ed, because now, you know what? I will be damned if I'm going to let anything happen to my kid. All right? So therefore, I'm going to be with you on this. I said it this morning, and I mean this. I'm on you. And I want to start putting it out there for people and say, we want we want professional law enforcement individuals armed, concealed in the schools. We want them there. That's the only deterrent that's going to stop somebody from going into the school.
And I urge all you listeners to join us.
Absolutely.
I've been calling this for over 2.5 years. We've talked about it countless times. And there's really, what is the negative? I'll tell you what people are afraid of. That if there's gangs in the school, that one gang will know that the cops, that the security are carrying guns, and then they'll attack them and pull the gun out, and use it against other kids. I mean, that's like an extreme thing. It's very far-fetched, But if you have multiple security personnel with firearms in there, nothing like that's going to happen. Kids want to go to school. Parents want to go to school. You have to. You have to weigh. You have to weigh the positives and the cons.
Well, I even got the name. I even got a name. I'm going to call it No More, because that's it. No more. No more. No more. No one more. One. This is it. This is the last shooting that we need to have in this country. No more. It's got to stop. And and you know what? I'm going to reach out to the governor. I'm going to reach out to the White House. I'm going to reach out to the Senate. I'm going to reach out to Congress. I'm going to reach out to whoever I have to do, because I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back and someday have to bury my kid because I didn't do something about it. So at least I'm going to step, and I'm not doing this for fame and for fortune and everything like that. I'm doing this because as a parent, this is the only way that I have to protect my child when he's not with me. If he's in my home, my wife's going to take care of it. Right?
Well, I agree. I agree with you. And I urge your listeners to join our fight. Reach out to us on our on our page on WLINY, and let's see if we can start a petition. Maybe that would be the start. And
all right.
Let's see if we got to meet with our local assemblyman here on Long Island and start an actual trend. That's what we have to do.
Absolutely. Okay,
right.
Ed Muniz.
Run, guys.
Ed Muniz, thank you. Everybody say goodbye to Ed. All right.
Bye, Ed. Thank you so
Ed.
much.
Thank you.
Check them out. Everything matters. Wednesday nights, 8:00. You can check the repeat.
Thank
You can check the repeat of last night's show. It'll be played on the station today. You can play it on demand. Ed Muniz, everybody. Thank you, Ed. Take care. All right, there we go. All right, comments. I'll go to Helen first. What do you want to say, Helen? I know we dealt a lot with this on today's show, and I apologize for being the downer on this, but we had to, So, but let's do it this way. Let's combine final thoughts with comments because it's 9:58. So, Helen, what do you want to say? Hold on. Where are we? Oh, I'm not hearing Helen.
She said she's with you.
Beg your pardon. I'm with you, Eric. No more. I agree with you. And to the families in Florida, our hearts and thoughts are with you. God bless.
Lisa?
I'm with you too. I agree 100% with what Ed said, what you said, and our thoughts and prayers are with the families as well.
Mike?
Hashtag no more.
I like that. There you go. Jay?
Words can't even begin to
Yeah.
say anything, but there was a lot of information given on this show today. So, like I said, if you want to head over to our website, copandcrew.com, always somebody there to chat. Even if you have nothing to contribute to the show, you just need to just chat, just talk, just to kind of have somebody to talk to. We'll be there to help you out. If you missed any part of the show, we are on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Podsnack, Mixler, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Facebook Live, Periscope, Instagram, Twitch. We are also on Good Talk Radio out of Mesa, Arizona, Gray Cloud Radio, which is our new syndicate, and 92.1 FM iJuice Radio out of Kent, UK. And I meant to do this yesterday. I apologize that I forgot. But Ken out of Dallas, Texas, turned 82 yesterday and asked for a birthday shout out, and we forgot to do that. So happy birthday, Ken. Sorry we missed you. And to our guests, thank you for joining us this morning. Everybody that watched on Facebook Live and stream and everywhere else, thank you. And the show will be on a podcast shortly.
I want to just, I'm doing something here. Let me just see if I can do it before I make this announcement here. Hold on one second. Yes, I can. Hold on. So here we go. I'm going to see if this will work. Stand by just 1 second. This is kind of important. Hold on. I'm doing something here that I want to announce, and I want to make sure I can announce it. Bear with me 1 second here. All right. Let's see here if they're going to work. Because if
I know I got it.
Okay. I don't know if it did it or not. Let's just see. It did. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to do something about it. All right. So I ask everybody out there if you want to join me. Okay. Right now I created a Facebook group, and it's called Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/groups/No More School Violence. Okay? No more school violence. It's a public group. Anybody can see members. Anybody can see posts. If you want to join me, like I said, no more school violence. That's it. We're done. No more.
It's been posted to our Cop and Crew Facebook page.
No more. It's not, and no more. And it's just, and whatever I have to, this is, if I'm not doing, like I said, I'm not doing this for fame or fortune. I'm doing this because I'm concerned about copycats. I'm concerned that, yes, if this can happen in Broward County, it can happen in Suffolk County. Okay, and no more. And if somebody, and I'm going to tell you right now, it needs to be done now. This is not an organization or this is not a group that can sit back and say, yeah, 6 months, a year, we're still doing this. No, we need to have an understanding right now. Okay, and if somebody says to me, no, there can't be an armed security guard in the school. Okay, then they better damn well have a really good reason for it. And when something goes wrong, they better be able to say that they're assuming the responsibility for it. Because if they're not,
intervention needs to happen when you see that
Right.
a student, a child,
there's a
anybody,
lot-
friend, family, doesn't matter, is struggling, depressed, whatever. don't let it fall to the wayside.
Absolutely, and we're tired of it. And it's like you're right. It's not just about putting armed guards in the school. It's about making people take responsibility. It's about saying something. It's about the schools stopping the nonsense. And this goes beyond just school shootings. That we're talking about bullying. We're talking about fighting. We're talking about policies of suspension and expelling students because of certain things and covering it up with a pile of sand and saying, you know what, we'll just kick the kid out of school and it's over. You kick that kid out of school, he grabs an AK-15 and he blows everybody away and kills 17 people. There's something wrong with the system and it needs to be changed. And the people that won't change it, then my question to you is, if you're in a position where you can do something about it and you won't do something about it, then you better be able to put your signature on a line and take, all right, you know what? I said no, but I'm going to assume responsibility. If something goes wrong, come to me. Because trust me, folks, if something goes wrong, you're going to be, if you say no, if you're the one that's saying, no, this can't happen, we can't have this, and something goes wrong, you better be real damn sure I'm coming to you and I'm going to say, why, all right, did you say no? All right, because those 17, somebody is going to have to assume responsibility for those 17 deaths. Not only the guy that pulled the trigger. Anyway, all right, guys, I love you all. Thank you all for listening this morning. I'm sorry the show was a little bit rough this morning. I had no choice. That's the way it is. It's life. Life is what happens when you're busy
making other plans.
Say goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.